TGR News, broadcasting from the State of Israel.
Welcome back to TGR News.
Hello, hello.
Well, we got good news finally.
Yeah.
The coalition is over. It's broken up and we're going to have a new government.
Hallelujah.
But first, let's get into what we always do, and that's thanking you guys for everything that you do for us, for the people here in the State of Israel, giving your support to help the people here in Israel. And it is a blessing, amazing. And it's great. I mean, these people, as you already know, so desperately need it, and they're getting it because of you. And I've mentioned it before, just because it's worthwhile information just for you guys to know. It has nothing to do with it. It doesn't dictate anything about how much you donate or don't donate. It's just for your information. Average family costs about $200 a week for us to feed here in the State of Israel. And so that's just something for you to know. With that, and that's cheap in considering how much food costs here in Israel. It's very, very expensive just buying food, because as we know how everything's going up everywhere in the world, and especially here.
Yeah.
So everything you guys do is we're so grateful and thankful for it, and the people that are receiving your help are just they're amazed by believers on the other side of the world who are sending support to help them. They're amazed by it. Sometimes they can't understand how is this happening, and why are people who aren't even Jews, most of them, and some are just believers, and and sending money to help feed them, people they've never met. It really is. It's an amazing experience. It really, really is.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And just talking about it gives me goosebumps sometimes. Yeah, thank you so much. Well, I'll say we get right into it.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the week, the IDF found 2 Arabs at a military firing range near Jenin, training right before they were headed to make a terrorist attack in Israel. I mean, this is another escalation of how they're being more and more bold, and just doing things that they've never done before. I mean, people heard gunshots at a firing range, military firing range, and some IDF soldiers went to check it out, and sure enough, it was 2 Arabs training before a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something that's never happened before. It seems like every time we talk on the news, it's like this is another thing that's never happened before.
Yeah, they're bold.
It's getting worse and worse, their boldness.
Yeah, exactly. Israel has put out the strongest warning yet to all its citizens not to go to Turkey. It seems ridiculous that Israelis are still going to Turkey. The Mossad has caught a few Iranian cells in the act, already trying to kidnap and kill Israelis' families in Turkey. So
yeah. It's amazing that the Israelis are still going. And another thing, Ola and I was just talking about it yesterday. There have always been lots of advertisements on Israeli TV for traveling to Turkey for vacation, and they're still doing it.
Yes.
And so on one hand, on the news, you have the government telling the public, do not go to Turkey. If you're in Turkey, come home now. And on the other hand, on Israeli TV, you have
heavy advertisement
to go.
Yeah.
I just told Ola last night, I said it's very possible that somehow Iranians are paying through somehow to do all this advertisement to get Israelis to go. It's very possible. I can't think of any other reason. The government saying don't go, but then we have advertisements to go to Turkey all the time.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
Very strange. Yeah. I mean, it's just. It's the only thing that makes sense to me is that Iranians are still trying their best to get us to go there, and that's it. That's the only thing. Well, on Saturday at 11 minutes after 3 a.m. in the morning, Hamas fired rockets into Israel towards the beach of Ashkelon. It is the first time since a year now, after the last 11-day war we had with Hamas. The Iron Dome was able to neutralize the rockets, but it was just a couple rockets, and that was it.
What was the purpose of it?
Yeah, and it seems like there was no purpose other than just to fire the rockets. Usually they come out with something that they want, something that they're fighting against something, they're protesting against
Yeah.
something that we're doing.
Yeah.
But
Or
not this time.
revenge for
Or
somebody.
revenge for something, or
Yeah.
something. They just did it just to do it, I think.
Yeah.
It's probably, I have a feeling it's probably something internal. Like Hamas is showing, internal inside Gaza, and maybe Hamas is trying to make some changes and show how strong they are, or something inside to their own people.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I can think of on that one.
The Israeli Air Force answered back within hours on the same morning. For over an hour, they bombed Hamas targets, including a guard tower that Hamas had made to be able to watch over the border and find civilian targets in Israel. As usual, we gave them ample time to get ready before the airstrike.
Yep.
Hamas is already rebuilding.
And actually, yeah, the guard tower.
Yeah.
And they've actually already rebuilt it. Now, this guard tower also, in the same day that they fired rockets, they also shot a 50 caliber machine gun from there towards Israel. It's a guard tower they built right next to the wall, above the wall, and so that they can see over. And only 2 days later, we found out that a 50 caliber bullet came through the roof of a house where the family was on vacation, hopefully not in Turkey, but but where the family was in vacation, and they just came home, saw a hole in the ceiling, and a 50 caliber bullet laying on the floor.
Yeah.
And so this is the guard tower that the Air Force took out, and they've already rebuilt it. It's completely back up and running and everything. Now they put even big Hamas flags and everything on it.
Yeah. And you have to realize it's very close.
Very close.
The border here, you have Israeli houses, apartments here, and then just next to it, you have these towers, and
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it's very, very close.
Yep, the shooting range, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we know.
Yeah, it's very, very close. Yeah. The Iranian threat to Israeli citizens traveling on holiday has expanded. Now there are Iranian cells in the UAE, Egypt, Argentina, Thailand, Jordan, Bahrain, and Turkey. It has become very dangerous for Jews to be anywhere other than here in the Promised Land. I mean, it's getting worse everywhere. Sounds like more and more as it did in the days before the Second World War. When anti-Semitism was going crazy and Jews it was dangerous for us to be anywhere.
Yeah.
It is definitely time for all Jews to come home, come back to the Promised Land that God gave us. That's for sure. It's just, you got Iran, and it's just going crazy trying to kidnap and kill any Jews. We're talking about families. They're targeting husbands, wives, and their children as a group, as a family, to try to get them.
That's exactly what terror is.
And it's just getting where I told Ola, I said, even if we had the time, which we don't, but even if we had the time to take a vacation, I wouldn't want to go anywhere. I'd take a vacation in the state of Israel is where I would take a vacation. I'd go someplace here.
You like camping.
I like camping. Yeah, I know that. I love nature, and so I've always loved nature.
We have an amazing nature here in Israel.
Oh, absolutely. We have everything. We got to make a video about that.
Yeah.
About everything. You have all 4 seasons in the same day you can do here in this country.
Yeah. Let's talk politics now a little bit. This coalition is finally done. On October 25th, we will go back to the voting booths. Yair Lapid will be our prime minister till the election. This will make it the 5th time in the past 3 years we have had an election. Next week, Lapid will take office. And in September, Likud will have its primaries.
Yes. So that's a lot of information, but it's a lot of good information and some bad. So Yair Lapid, which we have no idea what his agenda is because he's been pretty quiet behind the scenes. He was scheduled to be the next prime minister. They did, half and half on the term on this. So he will be the prime minister starting next week until the elections, which is, like you said, until October 25th. And that's just the election. So he'll be prime minister until the new prime minister is elected and takes office. So we probably have at least 6 months with him in office. Who knows what who knows what his agenda is. And he's going to probably try to do so many things to prove that he's so good until the election so that he can be reelected, right? Because that's what politicians do. So who knows what's going to happen there. So that's a little bit of the bad news. But the good news is the coalition's over. Bennett's out. That's it. And in September, Likud will have their primaries. And I don't see any other situation where I don't see any other way. I'm sure that Benjamin Netanyahu is going to win the primaries of the Likud. Even though I'm gonna say it, I love Benjamin Netanyahu. I think he's done great things for this country, and was a great prime minister. But I do think that it's possible that there are other good ones. Near Barkat, by the way, which is he used to be the mayor of Jerusalem. If there was primaries and he was running, I'd probably vote for him.
Me too.
Yeah, he's a
He's a
great
good
guy. He
candidate.
loves his country. He's true right wing. He's a great guy. Benjamin Netanyahu is a great guy too. He's done a lot of great things. So either one of those win, I'm happy. It's a win-win for me. And I'm pretty sure Likud will be back after
Oh
the next
yeah,
elections.
it looks like the popularity of the Likud just going up because this left-wing coalition was so bad for this country. So people naturally going a little bit to the right now, I think.
Yeah.
So it's good for us. Next time it's going to be
Yeah,
better
I hope so.
coalition,
Yep.
hopefully.
All the anti-Bibi politicians in our coalition are now realizing that their chances in this next election are slim, just like what you was talking about just now. Prime Minister Bennett is worried if he will even still have a job in the government at all. The Israeli public has polls shown that they are voting this time with much higher numbers in the right-wing parties. Exactly what we just talked about. Yeah, it's pretty clear. It is. It's pretty clear. Bennett's out, and all these sort of right wing that
Yeah.
actually act left wing are going to be out. So it's good times ahead. I hope so. So let's hope for some news broadcasts in the future saying that we got Likud back running this country. Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to put pressure on this current coalition to stop them from appointing the new chief of command of the IDF, seeing how important a position it is.
Yes.
The Prime Minister Bennett, soon to be now going to be Prime Minister Yair Lapid, they're pushing to try to fill the position of the chief of command of the military. This is a very important position for this country. The chief of command has a lot of influence on what's done, when it's done, how it's done, and I hope and pray that Benjamin Netanyahu is going to be able to stop him until after the elections
Yeah.
to get this position filled. The one we've had up until now, Kochavi, his name is.
Yeah.
He was great.
He's good.
He was great. It was really good.
In this election, it is pretty obvious that the main subject that the parties will be addressing to try and get their votes will be the price of living.
Yeah.
Obvious, yeah. Israel has become one of the world's most expensive countries to live in. Tel Aviv this year has become the world's most expensive city to live in the world.
Yeah. It is become insane, the prices here. And it's been in this past year when it's all going. Prices have gone up in history of civilization since I can remember, since history, right? Things just get more and more expensive.
Yeah.
That's just how.
In America right now also. I
Yeah,
heard
everywhere.
things,
Everywhere.
Yeah.
But the way it's got the percentage of how much more expensive it's gotten in this past year is just out of control.
Yes.
You know, like we were talking about homes. Homes in the past 10 years have gone up 30%, and 15% of that has been this past year.
Yeah.
Fuel we know has a lot to do with the Ukraine war, but still, at the same time while the fuel was going up, this coalition added more fuel taxes at the same time.
Instead of reduce the
Instead of
taxes
reducing,
and
yeah.
help people.
So it's just
And the taxes here on fuel is more than 60 or
60 or almost 70%.
70%.
70% of what you pay, fuel here is tax. Absolutely. Well, we know the next month. We know that next month, President Biden is coming for a visit here in Israel. The White House has asked Israel to cancel the traditional televised arrival. Maybe it's because they don't want the coverage, or maybe they're trying to hide Biden's ability to walk and hold himself. Either way, it's bad. Either way, it's a bad situation.
It's strange.
It's very strange because if it's just they're wanting them not televise him because they're afraid he's going to stumble around and fall again or something. Well, that's one thing. That's bad enough as it is. Mm-hmm. But if it was the first reason, where they don't want the coverage of America and Israel working together, Because it's
Really
very
bad.
powerful pictures. That's why, as we all know, when a leader of a country goes to another country, it's so widely televised because it proves, it shows the rest of the world we're a unit, we're together, we're you know, and so maybe, hopefully, it's not that. Hopefully, they're not trying to get rid of that, right?
Yeah.
It's but I mean, and on the other hand, like I said, it could be just because they're afraid that he's going to stumble and fall down the steps of the plane or whatever again. You know, they don't want the embarrassment.
Interesting question is if the White House asked the same to do from the Palestinian.
For as far as we know, I thought about that. For as far as we know, up until now, they didn't
didn't.
ask that. But that's not the big issue, because when he goes to Palestine, it's the same arrival. He comes to Israel, right? There is no Palestine.
Yeah,
so he comes
it's
to Israel.
only Israel.
So that's the one that's the one. So that's the one. But before he comes to us, he goes to Saudi Arabia, and there I wonder if they asked him not if they asked not to televise it.
Yeah.
We have to check that out. If we see it's televised next month and ours isn't, then we know the story.
Exactly.
And that's a horrible story. That's the beginning of the breakup of the relationship between America and Israel.
When Biden was elected first, he didn't call
Yeah.
to Israel. It was a
Well,
long
there's-
time
traditionally
before
they do.
Yeah, usually. So that means a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on there. Yeah. Well, on Sunday, Arabs in the north of the country at a memorial site for the fallen in the Yom Kippur War took down the Israeli flags at night and put up Palestinian flags. This is the result of what a weak government in Israel causes. Former Prime Minister Netanyahu used this as an example of how bad things has gotten. Now they're starting to rally their campaigns, right? And he used this as an example, which is a great example. It's like we was talking about earlier, the boldness of the terrorists in the country. They're just getting more and more bold, and the reason is they just don't have no fear anymore. They
Yeah.
feel like no one's gonna stop them.
Yeah.
And this was at a memorial for fallen soldiers at Yom Kippur War. It's not only soldiers, fallen soldiers and civilians, because a lot of Israelis died in that war. It's just insane that you drive by a memorial that you're used to seeing for all your fallen soldiers and citizens, and all of a sudden there's no Israeli flag there. There's a Palestinian flag.
Yeah. The last year did a lot of damage in many aspects to this country.
Yes.
Crime, terror,
Yep.
and other things.
Absolutely.
I hope it's not too late to fix things. Let's hope for the best.
Well, I know I read all you guys' comments, and a lot of you guys have been commenting that you're praying for the governments to shape up here in Israel. Well, it looks like our prayers have been answered because the coalition is out. It's within 1 year of the 4-year terms. The coalition is out, and we've done it. I think it's us. Tell you the truth, all of our prayers.
Power of prayer.
Yeah, amen. Praise the Lord. So we did it, and now, so things are going to be back on track. I could only wish that the prayers would have been answered the same way for America, But it looks like you're going to have them for 4 years, President Biden. Not lucky as us to get rid of him after the first year.
2024 is the election.
2024, yeah. Well, you have anything you want to add?
I'm grateful for your help, for your support, like we said before. And that's all, basically.
Okay, absolutely. Well, like we always say, thank you so much for everything you guys do. And if you haven't yet, you can join us at thegoldenreport.com. And until next week,
Shabbat Shalom.
God bless.